Hello everyone, I'm Lloyd, a product designer, and this is my portfolio site. I built it in Webflow. I've been using this portfolio maybe 4 years even, and there's nothing bad about the portfolio. It's really nice. It's good. I use Webflow CMS to actually build all of the case studies and all of that. But the issue now is that to add a domain, I have to pay and move it out of the starter plan and all of that. Then an idea just dawned on me. I've been practicing and experimenting with vibe coding, and I'm thinking, why don't I just build a CMS by myself and then use it to feed a portfolio site I can actually just vibe code already. So then I just thought, okay, let me try. What does it take to try? To start the process, I thought of an idea and I thought, okay, why don't I just build the front end? Why don't I design it with Figma Make? And the problem is not that Figma Make was, I've always been used to building out front ends and everything with anti-gravity. But this time around, I didn't want to have to design. Naturally, I build with anti-gravity. So I have the Figma link. I copy the Figma link, paste it in anti-gravity, then it uses the MCP to read it by itself and then builds out the screen for me. But I don't want to have to design this from scratch. I don't want to have to design this whole CMS by myself. So I thought, what should I do? So I went on Mobbin and I got this from Mobbin. So I got this is from Revolut. I got this one from Mobbin. Then I also got one from Wise from Mobbin. Then I also got a screenshot also from Revolut, from Mobbin, another one from Revolut Business, from Mobbin too. So I put all of them together and then I went into Claude. So what I did was I described what I wanted to Claude and told Claude to actually generate like an MD file for me. So Claude generated this MD file, which I actually uploaded to Figma Make here. So it generated the way the flow it's supposed to be. So it built out the flow, and then I just copied that flow. I told it to create an MD file. So I just did copy and I pasted it here in Figma Make, and then I also just added some prompts. So I said build this with React and Next.js and use it for icons. Use the style from the images uploaded, create background with white cards, content in the cards, take inspiration from companies like Wise and Revolut. That was all the prompt I gave it. And then it built this out, like it built this out and it started building it little by little. So every time it completed something, I was just going to tell it continue, continue, continue. And I could roll back the versions. You see, we have up to like 31 versions there. So I could roll back the versions so you could actually just see what it looked like from the beginning. And I just kept on saying continue, 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 continue. And the most interesting part is like I was in the Claude model and and I knew I wanted the Claude model because it had Opus 4.7. On anti-gravity I can only use Opus 4.6, and I felt like Opus 4.7 was very good. I knew that already, so I wanted that, and I just kept on using that. So it felt like I was using Claude code but in Figma Make, and it built this out. So this was the first version. It had posts. It had you could actually just view the posts. Okay, you couldn't view the post at this point. So it had templates, it had links, APIs, and settings. Everything that you see that coming soon because it hadn't built it yet. So I will stop reviewing now and go back to the latest version, 31. All right. So let's just say sign in and skip for now. So it takes us to the latest version. So this is the latest version. So it has built a lot of things like posts, templates, media, links, analytics, API, settings. That's built everything. And like all the pages are there functional. And I have everything. I just kept on saying continue. Sometimes I say fix issues, fix this, fix that, do this, do that. So after doing all of this, I even told it to push to Git, and that actually told me to connect some things and create a Git repo and add, and input some of the things, some of the links and all of that. Yeah, I did all of that, and it pushed to Git. So I have it on Git. And another thing I did was that so I downloaded it. So if you actually go to this panel and then you click on the download icon, you could actually just download this. It downloads on your system. I downloaded this and then I moved it into anti-gravity. After the whole front end has been built to my satisfaction, I exhausted the Claude model after the 31 versions. Then I felt like, okay, I wanted to do some more. I brought it into anti-gravity. I started prompting anti-gravity using Gemini 3.5 Flash, using Claude Opus 4.6, Gemini 3.1, and that was when Google just launched Anti-Gravity 2.0, and it was really a game changer because like before I would actually have to wait for a very long time before my limits were like returned, or like I had access to my limit. But it's actually took very short time this time around. I was able to like complete this very fast. I'm trying to scroll up to see where I started from, which is actually very far. So I told you, look through the folders on this app. Tell me what is required to open this app in my browser or my local host. I know how to do that, but I don't want to have to do that manually because it's going to take me a little time to actually do that. I didn't want to do that. And normally I'm used to npm install npm run dev, but now it's using pnpm run dev, which is something I'm not used to normally. So I just told it to actually like just start the development server and do everything. So it did that for me. Then I told it to run the app. So it ran the app. I opened the app and I saw that okay, there were like some things to be fixed. So I told it okay, like crop to the app and improve it massively by making sure like things work the way they're supposed to, like scrolling. Because I noticed there's some issues with the scroll. So I told it like scrolling or like content scrolls irrespective of the sidebar. It did that, fixed that. Then I told it don't change any UI element, just do what it needs to work properly because I don't want to do just like maybe move something out or like just add something out of nowhere. And he did that for me. And so I have been prompting a lot. I've been building this a lot. APIs. I wanted the APIs to work because I wanted to be able to create posts. And I couldn't create posts with the one version of Figma. I couldn't create posts with the version of Figma. But like after this is the version of Figma, I couldn't create post or do anything like that. If I click on new post, it actually just does this, and I can just it actually just shows me the screen, but it's not actually like creating or even allowing me for anything. So if you look at this place, you can see preview and publish. But when I actually built it out completely, I deployed it. It had a front end, it had a back end. I deployed everything. So I asked the Gravity, how do I actually deploy this app? So it told me, okay, let's use Render. You actually have to sign up on Render. You actually have to sign up on Vercel. I have used Vercel before, so I just actually just created a new project on Vercel. Then also sign up on Render, and actually did a lot of getting my links and all of that. So I inputted everything here. He actually just took it up from there and then built everything. So it will give me implementation plan first for most of the things I was doing, and then I'll just make sure like I read the implementation plan, and then I will just tell it okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. The part that gave me the problem the most was that when I create a post, the API was not really working. The API was not really supplying all the content in the CMS. But then the public version of it was not also showing, which was a problem. So I had to just continue telling it to fix the issue, fix the issue. I would test, brings the screenshot back into anti-gravity and tell it that okay, fix the issue, fix this issue, fix this issue. We spent quite a number of time on it, and it actually will just tell me, oh, this is the problem, this is the problem. So sometimes I had to wait and use the cloud model because I felt like okay, I just wanted to like just do some deep work. For general purpose, Gemini 3.5 Flash does quite well. Like it handles a lot of things very well. But then I wanted more. I just used the Claude model, the Opus 4.6, and actually like it gets some things done. I actually had multiple agents running. So I have agents for like building out the app and actually like completing the way I want the app to look like and function. And this was how to build the backend. So it told me how to build the backend. It actually taught me what I need to do to build the backend. So I asked a developer friend of mine what I could use to build it, and he told me that I should use FastAPI. So I told him I wanted to use FastAPI, and then it said okay. It asked me a lot of questions, and it created an implementation plan, so which I actually had comments to. And from the implementation plan, I actually like started building. So we started building the backend, and I first built it on my local like server, like on my PC. But then I wanted to deploy it, so we started doing all of that and started the whole process. And now the project is live on Vercel. So and the backend is via FastAPI through Render, and then the front end is on Vercel. So I can access the front end from here, and it has an authentication. I'm logged in as the admin, and then I can actually like just access the app. And it's quite interesting what I have been able to achieve because I didn't think I would be able to. Everything works actually like funny things like drag and drop actually works. You could actually drag and drop things like. And one thing I actually achieved today that actually made a lot of sense to me and busted my brain was that I created an import. So I have all these case studies in Webflow that I already wrote everything. I didn't want to have to start writing from scratch. So I just exported from Webflow. Then I told Anti-Gravity to actually build an import where I could impute the export from Webflow. I went to Anti-Gravity and I actually just showed it again, an image, just an image of what it looked like on Webflow, and then told it that I wanted to like build this out. So it started building it out. So it built out an import flow. So the way the import flow works is that I could actually just import, browse the files. So the files I actually CSV file I actually exported from my Webflow, I imported it and it opened it and showed everything the way it's supposed to look like everything it was exported. So I can actually continue. And initially, when you actually built this out, you can actually create a new template or map to existing templates. And then it actually just shows everything the way it's supposed to be, block types and everything. I defined all of that initially, what I wanted the block types to look like, short text, rich text, and all of that. I did all of that. Then also, one thing I had to add here was this delete because I felt like importing, I could actually be importing like all these collection ID, local ID, item ID. I didn't need them. So I just added a delete button so that I could actually just delete everything. So after mapping, you click on continue. So it shows everything that is going to be imported. You can actually name it. It tells you how many posts to be created because of the number of posts that you have exported from Webflow. And then if you click on continue, it's going to take you to an import screen where you are going to import. So you could actually just start import, and so you're just going to import everything. So I already did that. He imported everything into this place. So I have all these case studies which I have already published. And to cap this all, what I had to do, which was another interesting thing, was that I had to build my because I wanted to test the API. I wanted to see if another product or another website could fetch the data from the API and render them like the way they are supposed to be. So I decided to use anti-gravity to build a portfolio site. So I started building a portfolio site. So I told you I want to build my portfolio using this doc. What I did was that I put my portfolio into Claude and told it to create an MD file. It created the MD file. Then I actually brought the MD file into anti-gravity. So I just dragged and dropped so you can see it here. This is the MD file. I told it open the MD file. Then I said the link to the portfolio is this. This is what a case study looks like once it is clicked upon. And then give me an implementation plan on how you will recreate this. For inspiration, use this person's website and also this. So he did all of that and then he started building. It tells me what he wants to do, implementation plan. Then he did all of that. So it's actually built everything and gave me the local host to actually test. So which I did. Then after it built everything, I actually had to just adjust some things, fix all of that. But what I really wanted to test was just how it would extract the content from the API. So I had to actually just create a new agent to actually work on that. I told it to just check if the API is working. So I told the other this I told one of these agents to actually create an MD file with a guide for another project that actually used to fetch the APIs. So it created a certain API guide, which I actually inputted into this project. It read it and actually understood it perfectly. So it fetched and tested the API and saw that it was working. And the result is that this is the portfolio site I built using anti-gravity. It's just similar to my OG portfolio site, very similar. And there's still a lot of things to fix, but the part that is really interesting is fetching all of the case studies. So it loads the case studies perfectly. So see, my case study actually loads, and the text actually formatted the way they are supposed to format, and my images show, and like everything is just showing the way it's supposed to show. You can actually even read more case studies and click into it. It loads the case studies, and I mean everything is just so clean and sleek, and it's just so nice. It's just so nice. I can't wait to finish this and publish the entire thing and post it. And the fact that I'm actually excited the most about was that I didn't have to design anything. Like I didn't have to design this at all. I just had to provide the screenshots, and then Figma Make built everything out. it's just so amazing, like very interesting. I couldn't believe it when it was doing it. I was surprised. It got exact this. If I were to imagine the design in my head, this is what I want. Like this is what I want, and this is what I'm going for, and it's built it out exactly the way I want it. And that is the most interesting thing about all of this, and the fact that the API works. I didn't expect it the API to work. Like when I was building the CMS and it's built like this, I didn't expect the API to work. But the fact that I could actually just think of what I wanted to design and what I want to make, what I want to create, and get it done is just mind blowing. Like it's very interesting because I didn't think it could be this. I don't want to say easy, but it's just, I mean, like I've always wanted to move my portfolio site from Webflow and host it by myself, like buy a domain and all of that. But because I would have to actually be paying Webflow every month, I don't want to do that. And it's quite interesting. I've actually, before now, I've actually tinkered with a lot of projects. I've actually built a lot of front end projects with anti-gravity. So I'm already used to prompting and I understand CSS very well. So I could actually like go back into the CSS and adjust things, fix things, write some little table codes and all of that. That was no problem for me at all. So sometimes when there are some issues and I don't want to actually just use up my the rest of my limit, I just go into the codes and fix and adjust some things. But the fact that you could actually just think of something today and then prompt it out and get results like this is mind blowing. And as a designer, it's just a proof that you are only limited by your imagination. To be honest, at this point, you're only limited by your imagination. So if you are just new to all of this, you should actually try something out. So let me know in the comments what you build and how it goes. If you run into any problem, you can actually just find me on social media. My social media username is Loy Oyinloye everywhere. So you can actually just text me and we can actually connect to help you out if you actually run into any issues. Catch you on the next one.